So I will say this. When it comes to appearance, looks, and sex, women aren't as vocal and transparent in a group of people.
Really?
Yes.
But one-on-one with you?
One-on-one, different story. So same thing like using the sex example. If I ask a group of women, are you getting orgasms regularly? There's going to be women in there who lie because they don't want to feel inadequate. They don't want to be the woman who doesn't raise their hand and say, yes, I'm getting it good. So they're going to be hesitant or not know how to answer it. But if I ask in private, now I'm going to get the real truth. Yes. And now she's going to be very clear about loss of attraction, lack of sexual satisfaction, and all these things. So that's why people have to be careful, because I think sometimes we're assuming these issues don't really exist because we're not hearing it in that group setting. Don't be fooled. Some women they feel more comfortable privately expressing those things. And I've heard it enough times to know this is real. And again, you just have to, even if you haven't heard it enough times, pay attention. Yeah. There's a reason why we're seeing people fall off in marriage. There's a reason why we're seeing this disconnect. And even when it comes to infidelity, there's a great focus on men who've cheated, but there's a lot of women who've cheated.
A lot of women.
And it's not always for emotional reasons. It's for sexual ones too. So again, my thing is not to sit here and say, well, it's about who does work. It's about, okay, how do we fix this? How do we make this better? And we have to accept that, yes, there are contributing factors to why we see failed marriages, why we see infidelity, why we see disconnects in our relationships. Let's address the underlying issues and be honest about it so we can get this on the right track.
Wow. Are there any relationships that you're aware of that have open relationships that are successful? Or do you think it's very hard to do? Because more and more with the Burning Man scene and all these people exploring these things, what's your thoughts on, open relationships or, being together but also having multiple partners?
So I'm gonna be honest. I'm very skeptical of open relationships. Now, I don't want to sit here and say it's impossible for it to be successful because I haven't met everybody and I haven't studied it enough, but I have studied it to a certain extent. And from what I have found is, again, a lot of open relationships stem from, one, the perception that one person can't fulfill me. And since one person can't fulfill me, why not have more than one, all right? And to me, find the person who's experienced that deep and genuine connection, they don't have that perception. Because they had a moment in their life where they met someone that they thought, this could be it. Wow. I could put my all into this and I would be happy with this one person. If you haven't experienced that connection, of course, there's a natural progression to thinking, well, maybe it's not gonna work with just one. Can I entertain multiple if I can even handle multiple? The other thing is, I do think it also stems from a lack of successful monogamy. And when I say a lack of successful monogamy, I don't necessarily mean that they weren't able to maintain monogamy. It's like, okay, if I get in this monogamous relationship and now I get cheated on, or I've had multiple relationships where I've been cheated on, I may start to think, what's the point of trying to be monogamous?
Right. If it's not going to work anyways.
Exactly. Why not just get an open relationship, which one allows me to not be so vulnerable to one person. Right. I now have more emotional control. And what you'll find in a lot of situations is there's still somebody running that show. And what I mean by that is,
one of the people are running the show.
Exactly. And they're running it in a way that it's protecting them. All right. So I met a woman one time, she was into polyamory, and she said, well, her ideal polyamorous relationship was a man and a woman, but they're not allowed to have other people. All right. So it's like you're trying to control this environment for your sake. Right. All right. For your protection. So that means there's something deeper going on here. So to me, I just tell people when it comes to open relationships, if you really believe that's your thing, fine. I'm not here to tell people that they can't live their life that way. But I just want you to make sure you've healed from everything first. If you heal from everything and you still feel like this is for you, do your thing. Do your thing. But you might be surprised what's going to happen when you uncover and address some of these past traumas and issues. You may not be so inclined to want to be in this open relationship anymore. Right. And again, I would still argue that if you meet that person you have that amazing connection with, it changes the game. Right. And it can completely throw you for a loop. Because I've seen people who were once into open relationships and completely shift to monogamy because they met that person and was like, I never thought this could happen, but it's here and I want it, I'm going for it.
Wow. That's powerful insight. What about in a relationship you've been together for a long time, we've been married together for a long time, and it just feels like it's not working. And you're talking about divorce, and both of you aren't happy. You've got the kids, you've got the home, you've got the lives together, and both of you aren't happy, right? And you've like addressed this and talked about it. You've tried different things, they haven't worked maybe. Is there a way to rekindle those three things and find that connection again? Maybe you've lost that attraction and that balance. Is that even possible in these times? Or is divorce the only way to then go find true happiness or connection somewhere else?
If a true connection ever existed in that relationship, then it can be fixed. But that's the key. Did it ever really exist? And we've got to examine that, because again, many people have been living off the fantasy of their perception of things, what they wanted to believe it was, and wanting to hold on to this feeling of being in love, but in reality they were involved in an unhealthy attachment to this individual. So we have to go deeper and find out, is that there? So if the connection was there, yes, we can work on everything else. We can get things on track. It's going to create a lot of deeper emotional discovery, so to speak, as far as finding out, okay, why is there a disconnect now? How did we fall off of track? How can we now correct these specific things? Because there's very specific things that need to change. Are we both willing to put in that work? All right. And if both sides are willing to do that, then it absolutely can work. Now, if there was no connection, divorce.
Get a divorce?
Get a divorce.
Sooner than later?
I'm a man of God, and I would love for everyone to be able to stay married, right? But
even when people have been convinced that you get married, you stay married forever, even if it's a religious thing, or you feel like the pressure of society, like...
Here's why, despite those things, you don't stay married, especially when you have kids. So many people stay married because of the kids, right? Yeah. But if you can't create a positive environment at home, you are damaging the kids worse than you would in divorce isn't, in my opinion, the greatest struggle for the child. It's lacking the understanding of what just happened here. So if you've been feeding your kids all these years that mommy and daddy love each other and everything's all good, despite our dysfunctional relationship. Yeah. Exactly. So now one day you wake up, we're getting divorced, the child is confused. And the thing is, we're not honest with the kids about why this happened, what went wrong. We're not saying, yeah, you know what, we knew a long time ago we weren't best for each other. We're not giving them the honest truth for them to learn and not make the same mistakes
Repeat
in there.
The pattern.
Exactly. What the child now thinks is, you can't trust love.
Wow.
You can't trust marriage, because you can love each other and one day now it's over. And now they become dysfunctional, or they now have dysfunctional relationships because of their skewed perception of things, because they lack clarity in understanding what just happened here. But going back to divorce versus staying together, again, what a child needs more than anything is a positive, loving environment. If you can achieve that together, great. If you can't, you are better off apart.
Wow.
Because when you speak to adults now, adults who are struggling today grew up in dysfunctional households. And it didn't matter if it was a one-parent or two-parent household.
Yeah, I felt it, man.
Exactly. Dysfunction is dysfunction.
Yeah.
And we pick up on these things. No one is that great of an actor that they're hiding it from their child. The child sees the problem.
Feels it.
Feels it, exactly. And then you don't even realize you neglect the child in certain ways because you're dwelling in your own issues, your own struggle. There are women right now who have mommy issues, or they have what I call, I don't want to be my mother syndrome, where they saw their mother allow herself to be treated poorly, abused, suffered through a horrible marriage, and the woman is like, I don't want to ever be that. And now, because she's holding on to that, she either becomes her mother or creates other issues not trying to be her. All right? So it still creates a negative cycle of dysfunctional relationships. All stemming from, we stayed longer than we should have. We try to hold on to something that we can't work. My thing is this, even for those who are spiritual, if you're gonna say we're not supposed to get divorced because of God, well, God didn't say act a fool in the marriage at the same time. Like, what's the point of staying together? Exactly. How are you glorifying God or your spiritual beliefs by staying in a negative marriage for the sake of staying? You're defeating the purpose. The purpose is to have a healthy, happy union, to raise healthy, happy children. If we can't achieve that together, it's time to go.
Wow.
I mean, I wish it could be different, but that's just the reality of the world we live in because too many of us have made the wrong decision in who we married. And we have to accept that. I'd rather you accept that now, go through your healing process, and both of you can find your happiness and learn how to coexist as co-parents. And again, creating a positive environment in that co-parenting relationship. Because I don't want you to be co-parents and still be dysfunctional.
Yeah.
Exactly. Again, defeating the purpose. All right. I want you to get away from each other so you can find happiness, not be more negative.
Yeah, heal, move forward. Yeah.
Exactly. Be happy. Be happy for them if they found someone else. I know that's tough for a lot of people.
Right, yeah.
But be happy if they're at peace. You find your peace. Let the children see happy, healthy relationships, not just with other people, within yourself.
Wow.
Stop showing them a miserable father or mother. They see it and they hold on to resentment. I can't tell you how many, I don't want to say every, but I want to say 90% of clients that I've seen, and I would argue that if you spoke to any therapist or coach out there, the majority of people have issues stemming from their parents, growing up in that household.
Yeah. Or
And
their environment.
Exactly.
Their parents or their environments, yeah.
Exactly. And it's just all because of dysfunctional relationships. Relationships is the backbone of society. When we allow that to be as dysfunctional as it is right now, that's the reason why we have all these problems.
Yeah.
We fix that, man, this world becomes 100 times better place to live.
Yeah.
Easily.
More loving, more peaceful, more
Yes.
enjoyable.
Happy people
supportive.
go around doing horrible,
Yeah.
negative things, all right?
Exactly. When should people, when do they know that, okay, we just need to work on things in our marriage or relationship? Like, not every marriage is going to be perfect all the time and happy. Like, there's going to be some dysfunction or challenges or issues that arise. Hopefully you've addressed all those things. But let's say you've set expectations early. You both understand these things before you got married. Like, you communicated everything and you're aligned to a certain vision for your marriage. 5 years goes down the line and it seems like things are getting worse and worse. Maybe expectations change, maybe values change. Who knows what it is? When do you know, like, okay, it's getting too far or we should stay in this relationship? When should we get divorced or should we keep trying?
To me, the first sign that we have problems is that when whatever is going on in our marriage is affecting me in a way that I can't be the best husband or wife I need to be, we got a problem. That's step number one. I think what's happened is we've normalized dysfunction too much. We've normalized this idea that we're gonna all have problems. Yeah, but we all have problems because we don't learn how to work through them.
Interesting.
Because we have dysfunction and individual dysfunction that we have not processed and resolved. That's the reason why dysfunction is so common. It's not healthy though. Like, I've heard some people say, well, arguing is healthy in a relationship. No, it's not. No, disagreement is acceptable. But when
yelling at each other is not good.
Exactly.
I just watched the Will Smith and Jada, the Red Table talk of Will Smith, like, opening up about their marriage. I don't know if you watched this yet.
I haven't watched it yet.
I just watched it last night. It's actually really powerful what he said. Jada, I guess, when they first started, like, dating or whatever, at one point, she, like, raised her voice at him and, like, sweared at him or did something where she made him look foolish in front of other people. And he took her into the other room and said, can I speak with you for a minute privately? Took her into the other room and said, I can't be with someone who's going to raise their voice, yell at me, or swear at me. It just doesn't work for me. And it's going to put me into a shell. Like, I'm not going to be the best version of myself. And if that's you, then I love you, but we can't be together anymore. But I need us to be able to have complete peace. If we don't agree on something, then we have to set ground rules where we step away, we take care of our anger on our own, not in front of the other person, then we come back and communicate from a peaceful, loving place of what we're upset with or frustrated with. And so we never put that on the other person. And when I heard that, I was like, wow, that's so powerful, because most of us, most people, it seems like in relationships, will allow themselves to yell once and swear once, and then it's just like, once you've said you son of a bee once, it's like you can say it whenever you want.
Exactly.
And then that respect is gone, that that love is gone, or it seems to be gone.
And the other problem is we expect our partners to be our emotional punching bags.
Yeah,
we think, well, because you love us, you should deal with our crazy moment, our dysfunction, our disrespect, all these things, because, okay, but we show you love in other moments, so don't blame me for this one. No, like, focus on giving your partner the best of you, not the worst of you. Yes, they should help you through your struggle, but struggle is not an excuse to blatantly disrespect, stress out, throw negativity at your partner. Yeah, you know, you can't do that. So I think we have to all hold ourselves accountable to a higher standard of how we behave in our relationships. And yes, stop giving this excuse of, well, we're all gonna have our dysfunction. No, listen, it can happen, granted, but we should be focused on, as Will laid out for Jada in that talk, we have to discuss things peacefully.
Yes.
We have to come to the table calmly, maturely, and see how we can resolve it and not just lash out. That's not healthy.
Because screaming is not communicating.
No.
It's not creating a connection. There's not an attraction there, and there's no balance.
Exactly.
You don't have those three things
that are
necessary.
all of it.
It destroys all of it. And, you know, whenever I have gotten in arguments in the past in my relationships, all I want to do is go be alone afterwards. I'm like, I don't want to be around you. I just want to be alone. Like, I need space to like heal and recover now, because it's very traumatic, or at least it has been for me. And that's just been my personal experience. And I think that's why it's so important to learn how to communicate in a peaceful way. Yeah. And sure, you might get frustrated and tension might come up, but you got to create ground rules, I think, for yourself and your partner. What are we going to do when that happens?
Exactly.
Maybe we just quiet until we can breathe and like communicate calmly. But I don't think there's anything good that comes from screaming.
No, not at all.
I witnessed that with my parents, screaming and escalating, and it was just like, it never felt good in the house. There was nothing that ever came from that was good. They always had to like apologize to each other in ways, and then it was like passive aggressive for a week, and it's just like, why can't we just be, you know, more peaceful about these things? So I think it's really important. It doesn't just affect your relationship, it affects the people that are in your relationship, family, friends. It affects those people as well.
It even affects your coworkers, because,
absolutely,
you know, I'm a firm believer that people take a lot of their relationship issues into the office, and it affects their attitude, their energy, their focus, and they don't realize how they're hurting their efficiency and hurting their ability to do so much more and do so much better, whether they're an entrepreneur or they work for somebody, because their relationship is dysfunctional. And so, like, I'm a firm believer in, if we can help people who work in corporate or whatever have stronger, better relationships, their careers will thrive, their companies will thrive. Like, it pours into everything. So we have to create that positivity in our lives so that we can reach our true potential.
I think it affects everything in business. I mean, when you're having a bad relationship intimately, it affects the way you show up in your career, for sure. What's one thing you wish men understood more about women in general, and one thing you wish women knew about men in general?
All right.
Every man and everyone's different. You know, everyone human's different, but in general, based on all the work you've done and the things you hear over and over again, one thing you wish men knew about women and women knew about men.
This may sound bad, but what's coming to, I always just say what comes to mind, all right? Because I never practice any of these things, is learn to look past her words. And what I mean by that is, a lot of times, again, women don't always fully express themselves. As much as women will say men are horrible communicators, women are actually horrible communicators. and it's because, yes, they talk, but they're not always clear. And part of it is because women can see past our words, all right? Sometimes to the point where they overanalyze and over-rationalize things, and it causes them to look at things the wrong way. But they know how to pay attention to all the small details. They understand if our moods are different, even if we say we're okay, they're very in tune with that. So they kind of have that expectation with us.
Yeah.
And though I want women to be more clear and transparent, I want men to be more aware and be more in tune with your partner. It's not just about her saying, I'm okay. Look at her. Pay attention. Does she show you she's okay? Does she really look like there's nothing going on right now? And if you can see past that, I'm not saying badger her, because yeah, she might not want to be badgered, but at least one, show a true concern for her feelings, and show that you are going to be there for her when she is ready to let you know and have that talk. You want to create a very secure environment with your partner, a very safe environment where she can open up to you, she can be herself. And again, I do believe that starts with look past the words, and even in understanding how to keep her satisfied and happy. It's like the woman who says to you, you don't need to buy me anything for my birthday. All right.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Don't listen to her words.
Exactly. Look past that. And even if you think she's telling the truth, you know what? There's nothing wrong with still doing a little special something for her. It just shows that, again, you're more in tune with what's really going on with her emotionally and not just what she's speaking. But I do believe that as you do that more often and you show a willingness to hear her out, we have to consider our partner's feelings. I think too many men don't consider their partner's feelings. When you do that, she will become more transparent. When she knows that she can be open and honest and you're not going to reject how she feels or what she says or call it crazy, she'll be more willing to speak up about it. So I do think men need to be more in tune, look past the words. As far as what I wish women would know with men, so it's kind of the flip side of that. He can't read your mind.
Yeah.
He can't read your mind, and a lot of times men generally just don't know. There's a difference between the man who loves you, but does not know how you want to be loved, and the man who doesn't care about what you want and how you want to be loved. All right? Don't confuse the two. Some guys not doing the right thing is simply a lack of knowledge, and simply
not a lack of caring.
Exactly. So it's like I tell women, you got to be more specific. If you say, I need you to spend more time with me, what does that
How
look
much
like?
time?
Exactly.
What are we doing together?
Exactly. I have this example where I was counseling this couple, and the wife was like, he doesn't spend any time with me. I just want him to watch some TV with me, whatever. So I said, okay, cool. I'm going to speak to your husband. We're going to get this worked out. So I spoke to him. He said, all right, deal. I'll do it. I said, let's do it for a week. Let's see what happens. So a week passes. I said, what's the progress report? He says, man, I did everything you told me. I watched TV with her every single day. I was there. I showed interest. I asked her, I said, what happened? Oh, he didn't do anything. I said, what do you mean? He said he watched TV with you. She said, yeah, he watched TV with me, but he was on one side of the couch and I was on the other side of the couch. So you see, in his mind, it's you asked me to watch TV with you. I did that. In her mind,
you asked me to cuddle you and caress you.
Exactly. She wanted intimacy. She wanted desire to be shown. She wanted a closeness or non-sexual intimacy is what I call it. And that's what she was really looking for. So on one end, I can go back to the man and say, listen, look past the words. If she says, I want time with you, it usually means she wants a closeness to you. She wants to feel there with you. So be mindful of that. But on her end, be more clear. Be more specific. It's not fair to hold it against him or to claim he doesn't care when you didn't explain to him what you need. I tell women all the time, one of the greatest tests to seeing if a man is serious about you is not seeing what he does on his own or what he already knows. It's seeing how he handles your desires and your feelings. If when you express those things to him, he makes the corrections, you're good. Yeah. But you gotta be specific. You gotta make it clear. Let's see if he actually does what you ask him to do. Because a man who's very much into you, he'll do it.
Right.
I know plenty of husbands or men who are like, if she would just tell me what she wants, I'd give it to her. But he has no clue what she wants.
Yeah, so communicate very clearly.
Yes.
Don't just expect them to read your mind.
Exactly.
I have a few questions for you left. This has been fascinating. This one is about gender roles, with all the gender roles being redefined in society, at least in, let's say, at least in our culture, I feel like it seems that way. What are the best ways for men and women to create healthier roles in relationships with all this that seems like it's being redefined and figuring out and equality and role shifting or whatever it may be?
So one, I am a believer in roles. All right, even if you want to dispel gender roles, we still need roles. Roles is what makes any unit thrive. A team needs roles.
A basketball team.
Exactly.
Football,
Corporations, you gotta have members. Gotta know their roles. That's how we're gonna get to the next level. If you have an entrepreneur and you got a team, they gotta know their roles. So roles are important. Now, once we start to slap gender on it, here's my thing. You need to look at this long term, not in the moment. And here's what I mean by that. So you have a lot of people arguing against gender roles. So they say, well, the woman can do this, the man can do that. Okay, fine. If that's what makes you happy, go with it. I do believe that traditional roles are more beneficial in the long run, but let's start with the non-traditional ones right now. So let's just say as the woman, you're the breadwinner of the household. You're kind of leading the household.
To the woman, or the woman saying this to the man?
I'm saying let's just define that dynamic where the woman is more in the more traditional masculine.
He's the breadwinner.
Yes, he's the breadwinner. He's more a house dad, so to speak.
Stay-at-home dad.
Yeah, this is just one example. All right. Now, if you can picture yourself 20 years from now still happy in that dynamic, you got to be honest with yourself, then okay, cool, roll with that. The problem that I'm coming across is they'll start off that way, and then 10 years later, you're mad because he's not doing more with his life. You're mad because he's not being more assertive. You're mad because he's not walking in that traditional role of masculinity, so to speak. Now you're resenting him. You're losing respect for him. He's feeling like you don't treat him like a man. You don't respect him. He doesn't feel valued. Now, if they go cheat, I tell people this all the time, pay attention. If they go cheat, she always ends up cheating with a masculine man, and he ends up cheating with a woman that treats him like a king.
Wow.
Every single time. So that's my only argument. It's like, okay, fine. If you want to say we don't need traditional gender roles, cool. If that truly makes you happy, you can live with that, cool. But I need you to look at it from the long term. Because what's happening in a lot of situations is a lot of people are trying to switch the roles based on what's convenient for them right now. So for example, if I'm the guy and I'm not doing well successfully, all right, and I don't have all my stuff in order, then of course I'm gonna champion the reversal of roles because I need a woman who makes some money, who's gonna accept me exactly as I am, who's not gonna expect me to do all the manly things we're used to doing. It's about convenience. He's not really looking out for the interests of the woman. He's looking out for himself. On the flip side, you got a lot of women who champion this role of her being more of the masculine role because it's protection, it's control, all right? She feels safer, which is why one thing you're hearing from a lot of people right now is narcissism, all right? And everybody and their mama has dated a narcissist or is with a narcissist. But they don't realize that that dynamic feeds into narcissism. Because what happens is this woman now gets with this guy in a lot of situations, not always, because there are some genuine dynamics where maybe the guy is the house dad and she's a parent and they're happy and everything's good and it's healthy. But you have a lot of situations where she's with him because she feels needed and valued in the relationship. He's with her because he needs her, all right? She is his meal ticket, his come up. And now he's draining her and taking and taking and taking. This is the narcissistic dynamic that happens, all right? And she's not happy, and at some point, this is gonna all blow up in everyone's face. Or before it even she comes to that full realization, he'll get everything he needs, move on to someone else, because a man's desire for a woman can change based off his status.
Wow.
You see a lot of men who, when they're broke, have nothing, will date this one type of woman. Let them become successful, and now they're dating this completely different type of woman. And I always say it's because they always wanted that woman they wanted when they were successful. But it was easier to get that other woman when they were broke, all right? So with that said, I encourage women to consider, is he really dating you at his best? And when I say at his best, I don't mean he has to be rich, all right? I don't mean he has to be super popular, super successful, any of that status stuff. But is his character developed? Is he a man who embraces responsibility? Is going to be willing to pour into the relationship? See, that kind of guy, whether he is the breadwinner, whether he is the house dad, is the guy you can respect and be in a relationship with. Because that kind of guy, even if I'm not the breadwinner, I have the mentality of, I want to do for you. I want to take some burden off of your back. I want to have balance. I'm not gonna just be here and leech off of you, all right?
Take.
Exactly. But you have men who will just take in those dynamics and drain that woman dry and destroy her. So we have to be very careful. And again, going back to the original question, are you gonna be happy with the current role you're setting yourself up for in the long run? And if you will be, cool. But if you won't, reconsider what you're about to walk into.
Dang, man. I'm loving this stuff. I feel like we could talk about this for a while. This is going to be powerful for people, I think.
Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. A lot of relationships begin because people ignore the red flags. And those same relationships end because of those red flags. I don't want that to be you. I want to help you and